We need to talk about the 49ers, 2-2. What are they? Are they good? Are they not? After the game, Fred Warner comes off the field. He didn't play in the second half, couldn't play, was injured. And yet, coming off the field, he finds a camera, Niners camera, and says, "We're back. We are back." Which is an interesting thing to say when you're 2-2 and you just beat the Patriots. I mean, maybe they're back. Does beating the Patriots mean that you're back? Then the 49ers posted on social media. This wasn't a player. This was a social media person. Wrote on Twitter that today's win was a work of art. To be fair, no player or coach said today's win was a work of art, but I think that's a bit of an overstatement. I think the Niners hold themselves to a slightly higher standard. They took care of business. They got themselves on the right track. A win is a win, yada, yada, yada. They get full credit. But was this a work of art? Do you look at this and say the Niners are back? Because when you say the Niners are back, like the Niners are the best team in the NFC, right? They're a Super Bowl favorite. I'm not sure we saw that today. We saw a step in the right direction for a team that was under 500. Now they're at 500. But 2 turnovers plus 2 more fumbles. So 3 fumbles in the game, 1 was lost and 1 interception. That's not a work of art. Special teams remains bad. Defense was great. But was it the defense being great or the other team's offense being the worst in the league? I guess we'll find out. Like, the Niners faced a really bad offense last week, but last week they had Matthew Stafford, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback. This week they had Jacoby Brissett, who Kyle Shanahan, with a straight face, compared to Ben Roethlisberger after the game. Like this. He's like, Jacoby, man, he's one of the bigger quarterbacks I've seen. He's like Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, you really gotta take, it's hard to take him, like, what? The Patriots did the Niners a favor playing that guy. He's awful. You take a quarterback with the 3rd pick and don't play him? Who does that? Oh, the Niners and the Patriots. Is Brandon Ayuk back? Nick Bosa's back. Nick Bosa had a hell of a game. The defensive line is back for sure, because last week it looked like the most overpaid, unproductive D-line. I mean, Malik Collins had a good game. Kevin Givens had a good game. Nick Bosa had an excellent game. Fred Warner was great in the first half, although he did leave with an ankle injury that kept him out of the second half, which is disconcerting. And maybe the Niners are being cautious with him, but it seems like if he could have came back, I've never seen them be cautious with Fred Warner in the past. He's always on the field. So that's something to monitor. Who else is back? Debo was back. Kittle was back. They were back. But 23 points on offense against the Patriots at home, that's not back. 30 points is great. Scoring a touchdown on defense is great. But Purdy's interception, that wasn't Purdy. That was a bad decision. After the game, I asked him, like, what'd you see on that play? And he was like, I was just being greedy. I love Brock Purdy. If you ask Kyle Shanahan, like, hey, Kyle, can you talk about that mistake you made? He's like, what mistake? I hate you. It's like, Kyle, I mean, you're like, Brock, can you talk about that one mistake you made? He's like, yeah, absolutely. In great detail. What do you want to know? Well, why did you force that pass into double coverage in the end zone when you were in field goal range, when you're winning late in the game against a team that couldn't score? Why'd you do that? That's so un-Brock. And he was like, well, I was just getting greedy. Like, I was staring at Ayuk. I hitched multiple times. I love how he explains how he plays a position. Like, he said, your feet dictate your eyes. I think that was a paraphrase, but you read the defense based on your feet. Once you hit your back foot and you start hitching forward, you don't just stare at a wide receiver and cross your fingers and hope and pray he'll get open. Once you hitch, then you look to the next guy, and there's a rhythm and a progression, and he just locked on Brandon, which I understand. I mean, the guy's making $30 million a year. He had 2 catches. You might want to get him that 3rd catch just so he's not pouting I mean, I don't know how Brandon acts. It seemed like he got very upset when he was told to take off certain shorts. So I can only imagine how he acts after a game when he has 2 catches. So he wanted to go to Brandon. He forced it to Brandon. You don't do that. So one thing I've noticed with Brock a little bit this year, Brock sans Christian McCaffrey. Sans is French for without. He's still excellent. 6th in the league in passer rating. But I feel like, and maybe this is just vibes, feelings. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the stats don't back this up. But I feel like he's not checking down as much as he used to. And maybe that's because he doesn't have the best check down option in the league anymore. McCaffrey's out. But Jordan Mason's a good receiver too. There was a touchdown pass on a check down to Jordan Mason that got called back because George Kittle was cheating on the play. George, how dare you? Cheating, blocking. It seems like with no McCaffrey and a contract extension looming for Brock Purdy, and really I got to blame Ryan G. Hensley, who I do a show with on Mondays, called him a dink and dunk quarterback relentlessly. And I feel like Brock is sort of eschewing the dinks, eschewing the dunks when they're there. And you can't be throwing the ball into double and triple coverage when the dinks and dunks are there because you're not that guy. Great, really good quarterback. And what's funny is the one touchdown pass he had today was a pass into triple coverage. Triple coverage. Now, he threw it to George Kittle, who's 6'5", and put the ball in a place where only Kittle could catch it. So not the worst decision. Great throw, a phenomenal catch. Maybe not the best decision, but like if you're going to do it, throw it to a guy who's 6'5" and put it in a place where only he can catch it. Like that. Not to Ayuk. Ayuk's a very good receiver, but he's not a contested catch guy, and he's not 6'5". He's 6 feet, maybe 5'11". And he catches the ball with his chest most of the time, especially when there's a DB in the area. So the offense is still a work in progress. It is. Shyamaal Dio says, can we possibly try Burford at right tackle? McKivitz just gets beat every time. BTW, you're awesome, Graham. I will put that in the suggestion box for Kyle Shanahan. That was a work of art. Grendo. Not from him, though, but just in general. In honor of him, it was a work of art. David Trinidad says, in honor of the Sleeper app, Brock's been spinning perfect spirals, but every throw to Ayuk is a wasted beauty. Thoughts?